Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. I really feel honored to be here today. My name is Mine. I am a professional active listener from the page on Facebook called My Listener. Today, I am going to share with you a little bit what I did as a listener. And I did support people during the pandemic of the COVID-19. But before that, let me give you a little bit of a background of how I became a listener and also what my experiences are. So for a long time, I often had people coming to talk to me, and they share things that they normally did not share with other people. Back then, I just thought of myself as a secret keeper. One day, things like that happened again, but this time it was the person who I felt very close with, and I got too emotionally involved and started to feel depressed and stressful after hearing the story. Lucky I met Dr. Monita, who was the previous speaker, and he kindly let me join his class at Webster University. The class is called Basic to Counseling. With that class, I learned a lot to understand what it really is to be a counselor and how to support other people while maintaining the self-care. After that class, I was hesitating to continue the master degree in psychology right away or not, because I wasn't sure if I really liked it. And even if I did, I felt like it would take too long time until I could actually start to help someone. And that was the first step that I started searching for a voluntary listener job. I found 7cups.com, which is a US-based online counseling service through chatting. And they allow people to be a volunteer listener as long as they can pass the test. So I learned all of their online courses available and also took almost all of their tests. And at the same time, I supported people from across the world who came in with different issues such as stress, OCD, domestic abuse, depression, relationships, or even loneliness. For me, the only challenge is that on this platform, the background data of the clients is not given at all. So it means I don't know the client's name, age, gender, race, basically just nothing at all. So I had to pay full attention to every word that they said or chat with me. And at the same time, trying to understand the situations fast enough to respond to them and memorize each person's stories, because after the chats are ended, all the information will be deleted automatically for the security of the clients. I think for the positive side, it is good also because there is no bias or judgment available when you don't know anything about the person that you are talking to. So you pay full attention and then trying to understand the person fully, which I find a good thing from that. During the time that I was working as a volunteer on 7 Cups, there were so many cases that were feeling depressed and lonely from the lockdown. Some lost their jobs and businesses, and others could not adapt to the sudden cut of social interaction with other people, and they just needed someone to talk to. Back then, at the beginning when I started to be a volunteer listener, I was talking with one person for a bit over a year. He came online feeling very depressed about life, career, future, relationship, and he used that platform for about a year before I became a listener. At the beginning, he avoided questions. He did not talk much at all. And it was very difficult for me as a listener, a new listener as well, to continue the conversation with him. But slowly, little by little, he learned to trust me more and share more things with me. And at the same time, I also learned to respect his pace. For some days that he did not feel like talking about himself at all. And I think this is a very important point to work as a team with the clients, to go forward at the same pace with each other. I think I have worked on 7 cups for a bit over a year. And the last update I got from this client is that he quit his job, which he often felt really depressed about it, and started traveling around within his country. And now he is in a happy relationship. Seeing this huge progress in someone's life, it really gives me hope and courage to continue being a listener, not just a good one, but a really great one. So recently, I took an online course called Psychological First Aid from Johns Hopkins University. It emphasizes more on training local people to be listeners to support people in need of acute distress. In the course, it mentioned more about natural disaster cases, but I personally applied it to my own listening field by focusing on being the first support on the line of psychological support that people can reach. So I started my own page on Facebook called Tamine Listener, because I feel 7 Cups is not quite well known in my country. And it's time for me to take my experiences to another level. Instead of just chatting, now I can call the client as well. And right now we cannot really see face to face because of the COVID. But I think it's good to open this opportunity for people in my country to reach support as well. When people start to feel very stressful, they have some issues and they feel bad, and if they don't have a place that they can talk to or someone that they can talk to, then that bad feeling keeps building up. Sometimes they know why, but most of the time they can't understand anymore what is going on, because their focus is more on how they are feeling, which is all the negative feeling that they are holding inside. In some cases, they can reach out to family and friends. But sometimes people find it impossible to share some topics because they don't want to be judged by their own family. And sometimes they just feel they are not being understood, even though they shared with their close cycles. So, as a listener, I am the next support that they can reach out to. And through active listening, through some asking question techniques and many other techniques that I learned so far, the clients can understand themselves better. They can be aware of what is going on. They can understand the link of the thought, feelings, and behavior much better. Then together, we try to help each other find a solution that is suitable for each person to reduce the acute stress and distress. And also at the same time, I can give knowledge, or what I call the tool, so that if something like this happens again in the future, they know what to do and how to deal with it. I listed some benefits of having the listener as the first support. Anyone who is interested and has compassion in helping other people can be quickly trained to be a listener. It is easier to reach out for support in some culture while seeking support is still seen as an uncommon thing. For example, in my country, a few years ago, the word depression didn't even exist. People don't even know what they have. And those who go to see the therapist usually are seen as being crazy or have really mental illness, which is not true. It is cheaper in terms of the fee. The waiting time to get support is less because of the first one. Listeners can be quickly trained. It reduces the workload of the psychological professionals. It can prevent small issues to escalate and accumulate into bigger, much more difficult and time-consuming serious issues. The clients might feel more comfortable to share the experience of using the listener service with people if they feel listeners are more like friends and not doctors. Because some people might still feel embarrassed or shy if they let other people know that they are seeing a counselor or a therapist. Of course, there are some important points to consider as well for listeners. I think the trainings and tests must be available and align with the ethical codes of professional counseling psychologists. So that way we work with the same rules. There must be a clear line stating when the listeners must refer the clients to the professionals and that they must not deal with the suicidal cases. There should be available support for listeners such as mentor. So whenever they have questions or they need support, then they can reach out to these people easily and quickly. The last one, confidentiality must be the golden rule for listeners as well, and this is very important. People can come to a listener even when they feel stressful after work or they have arguments with their loved ones without waiting for a month to get a cue or waiting for years to seek support. Of course, there are some situations where a listener is not appropriate. For example, the situations that listeners should not handle are people who need long-term treatment. Those with mental health disorders that cause significant impairment, people in crisis that I explained before, and people with significant trauma histories. In these situations, psychological professionals are definitely much more suitable for this. And listeners must be ready and well prepared to refer the clients to them. In conclusion, I definitely would like to collaborate In conclusion, I would like to collaborate with psychological professionals to support more people during the difficult times, such as what we have, the pandemics of COVID-19. I believe from my own experiences that we can also make a change if we know how to listen with compassion, to be present, and be empathetic for someone. I do hope to see more local people being trained to be good listeners. And together with psychological professionals, we can educate people, make them feel more comfortable to reach out for support in an early stage of distress and not the last minute. And that when they do, our team is ready to support them in time. Thank you very much for joining.
Excellent presentation. We actually have a couple of minutes for questions. Do we have any questions? Let's see if there's any questions in the chat. Any questions? You can unmute yourself and ask.
Do you have a Any questions? I
Were
got
all
some
of you
chat.
listening? Susan asked, is there a course you could recommend to become a certified listener?
Oh, for the certified listeners, actually for the 7cups.com one, they have this course and test that they call verified listeners. And they also have many other tests, but it doesn't guarantee that you can become a listener or like work like professionals. Like I said in the point, that the training and test must be available and it should be from the professionals themselves. So that way they can guarantee and give certificate on that. And it would be more aligned with ethical codes. That's
Excellent.
that.
Thank you
That's
so
it.
much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We still have a few minutes. Mercy made a comment that she would love to do a course, but only if they get a scholarship.
I would like to do a course, but if I get a scholarship,
No.
They on 7cups.com they give certificate. Let's say when you practice with enough clients and that you pass the test and that the hours of talking with the clients reach the point, then you can get certificate. And there are some also online courses like the Coursera that I took for Johns Hopkins. For that one, you can also get certificate on certain topics that you are interested in. Also, they have, sorry.
No, go ahead.
For 7cups.com, the new program that I saw is that they have internship as well. With that one, if you can follow through, then you can also get internship certificate or letter of recommendation from them that you can use in your further education or professional. That would be good for that one.
Excellent. I'll add that also ICF certifications, it's a coaching certification, but they heavily go into listening skills and questioning skills. And yes. So depending on the type of profession that you're in, that could be an option as well. Any yes. other last questions? If not, Dr. Amanita would love for us all to put on our videos, and if you could stop screen sharing so we could take a quick picture with everybody on. Do you mind stop screen sharing?
Let me see. Stop sharing. All right.
And does everybody mind putting on their video real quick so we can take a really quick picture? I know. Last minute request, everyone, but we appreciate you being brave and putting your faces on the screen. Any more?
30 participants, I saw.
Right. A picture with a bunch of black boxes.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
All right.
Yay, more.
Yeah.
I'll stop my microphone so you can be the only person explaining and talking.
No
okay?
problem. All right. For those of you smiling faces on the screen, let's do a 1, 2, 3 and smile. So 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. Thank you so much. We have lunch right now, so a lunch break. And then please tune back in for the panel. And if you can, tune into the Facebook page for the panel. All right. We'll see you all shortly.
Thank you very much.